What's that?
Save America's Postal Service!
I can't hear you!
Save America's Postal Service!
Yeah, I can. We have to be heard all the way back to Washington, D.C. Let's give Mr. Franklin a hand for being here with us today. Save America's Postal Service! I want to thank everyone for being here today. My name is Jim Cook and I'm president of the National Association of Letter Carriers Branch 82, representing about 1,200 letter carriers in the greater Portland area. We have a number of speakers here today. One of our reasons for being here today is because there is not enough information, true information, factual information out there about the current crisis and the solutions. We are also here today to thank Mayor Adams and the City Council for providing us a letter of support, a letter to the Postmaster General in support of the viability of the future of the Postal Service. And so we thank Mayor Adams and the City Council for their support of the United States Postal Service and its customers in its communities. Thank you. So why are we here today? Save America's Postal Service. Why? Save America's Postal Service. Thank you very much. We're here to rally the community support, whether it be in small towns or in the city of Portland. The post office is essential. It's essential to communication. It has been for 236 years. It's essential to commerce, for the hard copy delivery of legal papers, for prescription drugs to the seniors, for eBay. We are hooked into the internet. That is not the reason we're in financial trouble today. The reason we're in financial trouble today is because Congress in 2006 passed legislation that required the Postal Service to pay $5.5 billion a year for future retiree health benefits. Now let's get this picture. No other business, no other public organization like the Postal Service has to pay future retiree health benefits. That means that the current postal crisis has been manufactured. If we did not have the $5.5 billion a year taken away from our operating budget, we would not be in the financial crisis today. In fact, we are $700 billion in the black. 700 million in the good if we did not have that requirement to pay the future retiree health benefits. So we have a number of people here to speak today. I would like to first recognize and thank Senator Merkley for sending his staff person, Mary Beth Healy, is the Deputy State Director for U.S. Senator Jeff Merkley. Let's give a big welcome for Mary Beth Healy.
I'm kind of short here. Hello. So hey Peter. So I'm really happy to be here on behalf of Senator Merkley, and I want to thank all the dedicated public servants of the United States Postal Service who are here today for all you do to make sure that the mail is delivered to every home and business in this country without fail, through rain, snow, sleet, or hail, 6 days a week. You know, Jim mentioned it, but the Postal Service has been a critical part of our nation's history and will continue to be a critical part of our future. While the United States Postal Service faces real challenges, there is no one more dedicated or capable of meeting those challenges than you, the men and women who wear the uniform and deliver the mail throughout our state and country, in urban and rural communities alike. It is important that Congress makes certain that our Postal Service, which was started in the 18th century, is well equipped and prepared to meet the challenges of the 21st century. And Senator Merkley is ready to work with you as we move forward to meet those challenges together. Thank you very much on behalf of Senator Merkley.
Thank you, Mary Beth Healy and Senator Merkley. Next, I'd like to recognize and give a big hand for Ree Armitage, who is the field staff, for Representative Earl Blumenauer, who has been a champion of the Postal Service and co-sponsor of H.R. 1351. We're going to talk more about H.R. 1351. It's a simple solution with no tax dollars associated with it. Ree Armitage with Representative Blumenauer's office.
Thanks for having me here today. Glad to read a letter from the congressman. Dear Portland area postal employees, thank you for inviting me to attend this important event to help people understand what is at stake for our postal service. I'm frustrated that I cannot attend this event in person because of my work in Washington. Our constitutionally protected mail service is no doubt at a crossroads, and there are enormous decisions before my colleagues and I in the next week as we approach looming deadlines. I will fight to ensure that technological and economic challenges are not used to weaken a fundamental service America depends on. The truth is that you and your fellow postal employees have been implementing cost-cutting measures for months upon months. The Postal Service would be running at a surplus if not for a pre-funding requirement that no other entity, public or private, has to pay. I will also fight to preserve 6-day delivery. If the Postal Service is forced to cut Saturdays from its delivery schedule, it would drive up the cost for Americans to receive prescriptions, cards, and important mail on the weekend while saving the Postal Service little of its operating budget. It would also cost postal employees jobs just at a time when we are trying to save and create them. These next few weeks and months are crucial. Your efforts to educate Americans about how much we rely on the Postal Service are so very important, and I appreciate the opportunity to help in that outreach. Thank you for your work every day. A strong Postal Service is a vital part of America and a key building block for a livable community. Sincerely, Earl Blumenauer.
Thank you, Congressman Blumenauer and Ree. At this time, we have another representative from Senator Ron Wyden's office, Barbara Smith Warner. She just bicycled up with a message from Senator Wyden. Thank you for coming, Barbara. And we want to point out that Senator Wyden and Senator Merkley and Representative Blumenauer have been strong supporters of the Public Postal Service, so we thank them all.
Thank you for having me. Let me just read this from Senator Wyden. Dear friends, though I am not with you in person today, please know that I am with you in spirit as you gather in support of the Postal Service. We share the belief that a universal postal service is a critical public service that has enormous value to the people and the commerce of Oregon and to all Americans. As you know, the President has laid out a plan to eliminate the 6-day delivery. I understand that reducing 6-day delivery could have unintended consequences for seniors and others who depend on mail delivery for their prescriptions, and for workers whose paychecks would be delayed. As Congress discusses reforms to maintain a robust postal service while meeting its financial challenges, I welcome any common sense solutions or ideas that you have to prevent the Postal Service from moving toward a 5-day delivery schedule. In addition, here in Oregon, our unique vote-by-mail system is a model for the nation. It increases turnout, it lowers costs, and it's safe and secure. Please rest assured that I will fight to ensure that Oregon's vote-by-mail is not threatened during these negotiations. I'm also very concerned about recent proposals that would threaten rural communities' access to postal service by closing down many small post offices across the country, including 41 in Oregon. Over half of the Oregon post offices slated to close are more than 10 miles from the nearest post office, and 12 are more than 20 miles away. As I wrote to the Postmaster General, expecting a customer to drive an hour round trip to visit the nearest post office is unreasonable and does not align with the Postal Service's mission to, quote, provide prompt, reliable, and efficient services to patrons in all areas and render postal services to all communities. Instead of so-called reforms that would cost jobs and compromise service, I believe Congress should focus on common sense reforms for the Postal Service. I will continue to work with you to get the Postal Service back in the black without sacrificing the quality of the mail service the people of Oregon enjoy or the hardworking employees that provide that service. Sincerely, Ron Wyden.
Thank Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Senator Wyden. Well, we have a number of people here today that support the Postal Service. What are we here for? Save our Postal Service. Save America's Postal Service. Why? Save America's Postal Service. Thank you all. Now we have Reverend John Schweibert. Reverend Schweibert was a member of the Workers' Rights Board hearing. He's here to discuss the issues that customers are facing as well as the workers. But remember, it's our Postal Service. It doesn't belong to stockholders. It belongs to the American public. That's why we're here to save America's Postal Service. Reverend Schweibert.
Thank you and good afternoon. Before I agreed to serve on the Workers' Rights Board panel looking into the problems of the Postal Service, especially as they affect workers, I was vaguely aware of a buzz going on in the media about how the Postal Service was in trouble and that it was too bad, but it was because they had become victims of something called the internet and the changing of the times. And I didn't think a whole lot about it until I was on the panel and we began to talk to real people who work in the Postal Service who are passionate and creative. And I began to realize that I was talking to people that knew how to fix the Postal Service, knew the changes that needed to be made, and knew how important it was that the services be kept for the people that they meet daily. Who else in the federal government except this large army of postal workers is in daily contact with the people of America in every community? I learned how it would affect people like my mother-in-law, who is elderly and who looks upon a postal worker as part of her extended family. And also other poor people and people in remote locations, as you have heard. And then I realized that if the Postal Service is a victim of something, it's not the internet. But the Postal Service is a victim of managers who aren't very creative in their thinking, certainly not as creative as the people who are out there delivering the mail. And I learned about all the possibilities for ways that the U.S. Postal Service could recreate itself to establish new services that aren't now provided and really make it an instrument of the common good. And so when I and others concluded our hearings as a Workers' Rights Board, we developed a report and some specific recommendations, not only to correct current problems in the Postal Service, but also to carry it forward further into the 20th century, where it really was a government agency that was responsive to the needs of the people and advocating and working for the common good. I thank everyone who is a part of this movement to make that happen. I'll be with you and you'll be with me, and together we'll make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Schweibert. Well, at this time, how many of you know that we are being threatened with losing a day of service? Why? To save a small amount of money. It doesn't make sense. It's 1, maybe 2% of the budget, if that, to cut a day of delivery service. We in the Postal Service and letter carriers, we know that people rely on Saturday delivery, whether it's for prescription drugs for seniors, Netflix for people who want to watch movies over the weekend, or getting that letter for your birthday. We know people want Saturday delivery, especially in rural areas and in many other areas. So at this time, we have the we are very fortunate to have a speaker from Oregon Food Bank, who is a partner with us on Saturdays once a year to collect food for those in need. Mary Ann Brunner is here. She's a partner events coordinator for Oregon Food Bank. Mary Ann, thank you for being here.
Good afternoon. I'm here today to show both my support and the support of the food bank for the National Association of Letter Carriers and the United States Postal Service. My voice and the voices that work at the food bank, the thousands upon thousands of volunteers at the food bank, all join in to declare that 5-day is the wrong way. We must support our letter carriers in this time of crisis and misinformation. There's been much discussion about the value of the Postal Service, and you know, it's adapted to some pretty amazing things over the many, many years it's been around. The telephone, the telegraph, the fax machine, and now all the electronic media that we're talking about. Why is it important to save the post office? Because it's the centerpiece of a $1.3 trillion mailing industry that supports 8 million jobs. Because it's indispensable in the overall economy. Because it's the role included in the Constitution. Because it binds together the vast land nation, offering inexpensive service to every resident, no matter how remote. And it also unites individual communities, and that's what I've been involved in here in Oregon with my relationship with the letter carriers and all of the branches here. And let's look at how vital the role of the letter carrier is to our community. We've already talked about some of those elements, and you're going to hear many more examples of their spirit of selfless giving today. I'm here to talk to you about one Saturday, there's the key word, Saturday, in the year where our letter carriers across the nation accomplish an amazing feat. They collect record-breaking numbers of food. Over 70 million pounds of food last year. 10,000 cities and towns in all 50 states to feed hungry people in America. The National Association of Letter Carriers Food Drive is the largest one-day food drive in the nation, and the impact that our letter carriers have had on the lives of those less fortunate has been unprecedented. Last year in Oregon alone, our 4,000 letter carriers delivered and picked up our mail as usual, as well as picking up and carrying almost 1.4 million pounds of food. That translates to over 1 million meals for hungry Oregonians. There is no other food drive in this country of that magnitude. Letter carriers have held this tradition for 19 years running, and actually here in Oregon a little longer, because this idea sprung up from letter carriers in Eugene, Oregon, who had a vision to help their fellow brothers and sisters in their communities. And who better knows about the plight of our communities better than the letter carriers? They deliver our bills, our letters, good news, bad news, notices, cards, movies that Jim was talking about, those vital medicines. They see us every day, and if they don't, they worry. They created a food drive over 20 years ago because they were worried about all of the people they knew on their routes that were in need, because they see it every day. Well, today, we need to be worried about our letter carriers. The threats of cuts to postal services will have a tremendously negative impact on our elderly, our rural Americans, many of those who we are already serving at the food bank. Many of those people are still receiving food from this amazing food drive, food that was collected in May. We finally finished sorting through our last 20,000 pounds of food just this past week to feed people in our communities. Their reach is far and wide. Letter carriers need our support now more than ever. They have supported our communities time and time again, and I've had the privilege of being involved in this food drive that shows their basic instinct is to help us, and we now need to help the letter carriers. Join me in that fight. Sign a petition online, saveourpostoffices.org. Let's fight this battle. It can be won. We don't want to feed letter carriers. They will not have the opportunity to collect that food next year, which will mean more people to feed and less food to feed them with. Please help us in this fight against losing Saturday delivery. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann and Oregon Food Bank. Brad Mellon is a retired letter carrier, but he's staying active as our representative for senior safety. The Gatekeeper program is a program where people look out for those in the community who may need extra assistance. So Brad Mellon's going to come up and talk about how we deliver more than just the mail. Thank you.
Morning. Okay, just want to tell you a little bit about how the post office does deliver more than just the mail. We care about our customers. We look out for our customers. The Gatekeepers program is a program where we can get people in touch with the programs that are available for them. They're there waiting for them. A lot of elderly put themselves in harm's way just because they do not know about the programs that are available. Simple instance where a carrier notices that a senior has a problem, they can contact the Gatekeepers program. Gatekeepers will send someone out, evaluate the situation, and get them in contact with the programs that are available. So we do deliver more than just the mail. We deliver safety for our elderly. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Again, why are we here? Save America's Postal Service. Why? Save America's Postal Service. Thank you all for being here. We're so very grateful. This is just the first of a series of rallies to what? Save America's Postal Service. On September 27th, Kevin's going to talk about that. On September 27th, we're having a rally at 4 o'clock at the main post office. But right now, I want to introduce Greg Stark. Greg is the Oregon State Representative for the National Postal Mail Handlers Union. Greg, will you share a few words?
Thank you very much for having me here. I'm here for two reasons. The first is I was brought up in Southeast Portland, and I moved away for a while. I'm back in Southeast Portland, and I went to Benjamin Franklin High School, and I wanted to thank Mr. Franklin for building that high school. That's where I met my wife, so I'd like to give Benjamin Franklin a big hand. Thank you. I'd also like to say that I'm a mail handler, and our union is in total support of the letter carriers' efforts to save the Postal Service. We all know that we're brothers and sisters in the union fight for this. I bring a message from our national president, John Haggerty, to say that we are behind the letter carriers. We're partnering with the APW, the rural letter carriers, also in the rally that we spoke of. And it touches us all, not just as union members, it touches everybody in the United States. And we need to save this, we need to be strong. We want you to know that we're behind you, and I know you're going to help us out, and we're going to save our Postal Service. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Greg. I'd like to recognize that Tom Chamberlain is here to support us. He's the president of the Oregon AFL-CIO. Let's give Tom a big hand. Thank you for being here today, brother. Now, we're not talking about the 236-year history of the Postal Service, but we have that history. This building behind us, it was originally opened in 1879 as what? The Pioneer Post Office. That's what's behind us, the Pioneer Post Office. We no longer have a presence here. We want a presence to continue. We want the Postmaster General and Congress to know, stop dismantling America's Postal Service. We have asked Benjamin Franklin to come back from the past to tell us that It's so important, it's so vital to so many people throughout this nation. It binds our nation together and has since 1775 when Mr. Franklin first established the Postal Service. But before that, he was Deputy Postmaster General for the British Crown. He set up a system of post roads and mile posts from Maine to Florida. He united the 13 colonies. He opened up the mails so that newspapers could flow, freedom of thought could be passed from colony to colony. Mr. Franklin, I thank you for helping us create this nation, and I thank you for coming back to tell us how we can save America's Postal Service.
Thank you. When you're 305, you probably need help getting up here too, huh? Well, I thought, what an honor to be in such a beautiful city today out here in Portland, Oregon. And then I thought, what an honor when you're 305 to be anywhere, to be honest with you. Well, I started thinking about some things really to share with you today. One of the things I thought about is the post office. It goes everywhere. I know a teacher on the Bering Strait. She can send a letter for 44 cents to her family back here. You can be maybe over in Hawaii at a luau. For 44 cents, you can send that letter to your friends, tell them about your great adventure. I started thinking about the motto we all know with the post office. We know the rain, floods, storm, tornadoes, they don't stop the post office. So I'm thinking, how about a political agenda? That shouldn't stop the post office either. I started thinking about when you have a car, you're riding down the road, you get a flat tire, you don't throw away the wheel, you fix it. So maybe the post office, like some other agencies, need a little bit of help. They need a little bit of reworking. When the government has a problem, do we talk about getting rid of the government? Now there are people who have talked about that. I don't think that would be a good idea. So just think about it when you start thinking about that Saturday delivery, how important it is to the small business people out there, to those families, and those people that can't get out. What a thrill it is for them to receive that mail. So just in thinking about things today, one of the things I'd like to share with you is, well, the next time somebody tells you to go fly a kite, it could be the key to your success. Maybe write your congressman, write a letter, an editorial letter. There's things you can do. One of the things that we talk about in America, there's a big push right now for those products made in America. Folks, the post office was made in America. Yeah. Think about that one. So just enjoy the sunshine today. I just want you to think about the next time that postal worker comes by and checks your box and if it's full of mail, maybe you had a health problem. A postal service delivery person not only is delivering your mail, but potentially saving your life. With that, have a great day, and thank you for allowing us to be here.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin, for setting up this wonderful postal service that we're here to save today. Well, you've been very patient listening to the speakers today, but this is the beginning, as mentioned. I would like to recognize NALC, that's the National Association of Letter Carriers, Branch 82, Secretary Treasurer Kevin Card, but he's also the State President of the Oregon State Association of Letter Carriers, Brother Kevin Card.
Thank you, brothers and sisters. Thank you, Portland citizens. We're not here to ask for a bailout. The Postal Service is not broke. Everything that you've heard in the news is incorrect. The fact of the matter is that the dedicated men and women who work for the Postal Service have been doing everything they can to make sure that we have been successful. Since the economic recession took over, we have saved the company over $9 billion. We've seen our routes adjusted every 6 months so that letter carriers are on the street longer and longer every single day. But if you ask your average letter carrier if this bothers them, they're going to tell you that they love their job. They're going to tell you that they love their customers. They're going to tell you that they feel that they continue to be a valuable part of the American society. And I know that's the truth. I know that's the truth. What we need to tell the American public and why we really came here today is to let them know that the Postal Service isn't broke. That Congress created this problem back in 2006 by unfairly burdening us with billions of dollars of payments to a fund that already has over $43 billion in it. And that absent that, if you took away those payments, with all the changes that letter carriers have gone through, with all of the disruption that it's caused for us, we still save the Postal Service billions of dollars, and that over those 6 years, we've actually shown a profit of over $600 million. So the message we need to take out to our friends, our families, to people in this square, is that we're not going broke. We're far from going broke. And then with a little accounting fix that Congress can do for us, we can continue to deliver your mail 6 days a week to every community in America. I want to thank you all very much for showing up today. Take that message out there. We love our jobs, right? Letter carriers will tell you we have the best job in America.
We love letter carriers.
And we want to continue to perform this great job for every citizen in this country for years to come. Do we know that change is on us? Well, you know, we all have one of these in our back pocket. But you know what? Someday you're going to be able to call up and order a birthday card for your niece or your nephew or your grandchild, and your letter carrier is going to pick it up at the office that day and deliver it. Because we're part of the past, like Ben said, but we will certainly be part of the future for many years to come. So thank you very much for showing up today.
Yeah.
So thank you, as Kevin said, for being here. This concludes our rally for today, but on September 27th, next Tuesday at the Portland, Maine Post Office, in every congressional district in this country, there will be a rally to save America's Postal Service. And what I want to do now is give a big hand for all the people who came to speak to help us do that. We have petitions and we have postcards to President Obama to help us. So again, thank you very much for being here today.
3 cheers for the post office.